Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Well, recently I've reviewed the Ricoh GR3, which is here, and it's a fantastic little camera. I weren't sure if I would get on with it when I first purchased it because it's got a fixed screen and a fixed 28mm lens. Well, it's equivalent to a 28mm lens in full frame terms, although it is a 24 megapixel APS-C sensor in this particular camera. So you are getting really nice images with this particular camera. But I was a little bit, frustrated, is that the right word? I don't know. But I do enjoy the tilty screen. And because I suffer with a bad back and a bad shoulder, when I go out and about, I do like to do low angle shots. I don't really want to get on my hands and knees. So I do like a camera with a tilting screen. And I managed to pick up at a fantastic price the Sony RX100VII, which we have here. And lo and behold, this one does have the tilting screen, which is awesome. So I thought, let me see how I get on with this particular camera. But what I was crucially wanted to find out is, are the images, good enough from the RX100VII in comparison to the Ricoh GR3? Now, the Sony RX100VII does have various advantages over the Ricoh. The fact that it has got the tilting wilty screen, that is a great advantage for me, as I said, because I suffer with a bad back. So the fact that it has got that, that is awesome. But it's also got a little pop-up viewfinder. And again, that is brilliant to have this little pop-up viewfinder. I use that when it's really bright sunny conditions. Now, we in the UK don't get the sun a great deal. Well, hopefully in the summer we will. But I have found it to be a godsend having this little viewfinder. I do miss that on the Ricoh. You are completely reliant on the screen on the back. Now, you can increase the brightness of the screen, and I have done that. But I did come across a few situations where even increasing the brightness still wasn't bright enough to be able to see the screen properly. Where with the Sony, because it's got a built-in viewfinder, no problem at all. And it's a great little viewfinder, you just push it up and down. And you can set it to turn the camera off. I haven't got it set for that. As you see, the camera stays turned on. Yeah, that is great. Also, it's got an equivalent to a 24-200 zoom lens, where the Ricoh is a fixed 28mm lens. And there's various other features. The video quality from the Sony is far superior to the Ricoh. The Ricoh isn't a video camera, that's as simple as that. It does shoot HD, but it doesn't do it very well. Where the Sony shoots 4K video, it also shoots HD. Now in 4K, you are restricted to 5-minute clips. So it isn't, like my little Sony ZV-1 that I'm filming over here with. That'll just keep on running forever and a day until either the battery runs out or the SD card fills up. Not with the RX100 range. It is primarily a little stills camera, but it's also a very capable little video camera. Has a mic input as well, actually, on the RX100VII. On the side here, you just got a little mic jack on the top there. So yeah, I wanted to see, could I get comparable images from the Sony to the Ricoh? So I went out and about, and I'm going to show you a few comparisons here. Now, I shot both at the wide end. I didn't use the telephoto lens on the Sony because that's not really a fair comparison to the Ricoh. So I shot this at a fairly comparable range. Although this goes down to 24mm, I did tighten it up a wee bit to get a comparable image to the Ricoh. Now, the Ricoh is an APS-C 24 megapixel sensor, where the Sony is a 1-inch 20 megapixel sensor. So, in theory, the Ricoh should stand head and shoulders above the Sony. But I was blown away by how comparable the two really are. One advantage I have found with the Sony over the Ricoh, you can use the Sony very much as a point and shoot camera, a bit like you can with a mobile phone. Because it's got a 1-inch sensor, the depth of field is not as great as it would be on the Ricoh, or certainly as it would be on a full frame camera, obviously. So more is in focus at any given focal length. And I find that great for when I'm going out and about. Street photography, great for that. You can just pick the camera out your pocket, take the photograph. You don't have to worry too much about setting the focus point. Although the Sony has got a whole wide range of autofocus settings, and it's phenomenal. I don't know how Sony have crammed so much into such a tiny little camera like this. I've actually fitted the Sony grip to it because I found it was a bit slippery, and I think everyone has complained about that. But with the Sony grip, you just stick it on. With the Sony grip, that gives me a much nicer grip to the Sony. The Ricoh is quite nice actually. It doesn't need anything. That's got quite a nice grip to that, and it feels really nice in the hand. So the Ricoh, from a handling point of view, is actually lovely. It's a really nice camera to use. But from a usability point of view, I think the Sony scores because of all these extra features that the Sony has. Now, if we look at some of these images, we compare some of these images. As I say, on the left, we have the Ricoh. On the right, we have the Sony. And colours are very similar. The Sony looks a little bit brighter, maybe a little bit overexposed. The Ricoh looks more natural from that point of view. But look at the clarity when you zoom in. They're both outstanding, aren't they? That 1-inch sensor on the Sony is absolutely outstanding. You can read the text on both of them as clear as day. It's just incredible. Honestly, I find it incredible. Again, the colours of a Ricoh, a little bit blue, I think. The Sony, again, a little bit overexposed. But again, if we look at the sharpness, yeah, the Ricoh has got the edge on the Sony there. The Ricoh does look at just that little bit sharper. It's really difficult to say. They're both that good, but it's difficult to say which one is better than the other. Let's go to, say, this one compared with that one. Again, there seems to be this sort of blue cast on the Ricoh. There isn't any cast on the Sony. Again, yeah, we've got the Ricoh on the left, Sony on the right. If we zoom in here, again, the clarity and the detail is excellent on both. Absolutely excellent on both. Yeah, I think the Ricoh has got that slight edge over the Sony. Looking at the brickwork, there's a little bit more detail in the Ricoh than what there is in the Sony. Let's go to, say, this one. Let's look at that one. That one versus, where are we? That one. That's not quite the same image. Let's do this one actually, because I can see that is, where are we? So we've got the Ricoh on the left. Again, the Ricoh just looks like there could be a slight blue cast on the Ricoh. I don't know, but again, I'm looking at the clarity between the two of them. They're both really natural, and they're both really good. Yeah, I think with the Sony, I would need to turn, in the edit, just turn the exposure down just a notch. And with the Ricoh, probably adjust the colour balance a bit. But other than that, I think they're both so comparable. I wasn't expecting them to be so comparable. I genuinely wasn't, simply because the Ricoh has got, I say, an APS-C 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, and the little Sony has only got a little 1-inch sensor. I wasn't expecting so much out of the Sony as what I did get. So, you know, absolutely blown away by how good this little Sony is. So if you're looking for, you know, a travel camera, maybe you are a pro or an enthusiast and you want a second camera you can just keep with you all the time, you're not going to go wrong with a Ricoh, obviously. But where you're going to gain with the Sony is its great video features, its zoom lens, tilty-wilty screen, you know, and what have you. Now, the Sony hasn't got an ND filter, whether I believe the Ricoh has got the ND filter. It's a shame that they've taken the ND filter out of the Sony. They had it on the up to number 5, I think version 5 of the RX100 range, but not on the 7. But when you're taking photographs, you can adjust the shutter speed to compensate for the lack of an ND filter. A bit awkward for video, of course. If you want to get, you know, proper decent video clips, then you can't, because you really do need to set a set shutter speed. You know, yeah, other than that, I think the Sony RX100 Mark VII is great. I think I'll probably use the RX100 Mark VII as my travel camera, simply because of the sheer flexibility that the RX100VII has over the Ricoh GRIII. And I think, again, it's a much, well, I say much, it's a better pick it up point and shoot camera to get quick snaps, where the Ricoh I found wasn't quite so accurate from that point of view. But there you go, that's, you know, that tells a story really how good the Sony is. Now, these few comparison images will be up on my Flickr site, so if you want to take a look at them there, please do so. There's also albums there of many other different cameras and lenses I've tested over the years. Take a look at them, that'd be fantastic. And if you like the content of my videos, please subscribe, that would be really helpful. It helps me grow the channel, really appreciate that. And if you like the content of this video, please hit the like button. That's also really, really helpful. So thanks very much indeed. Cheers for watching, bye for now.